we're about to get started. It's people coming in. It's more people coming in, but we want to get this thing together. We want to get started. So, welcome everybody to the adult panelists, the Adultism panel. We thank everybody for coming out or joining in into our networking event. Be sure to make sure put um, your tags or your Instagram socials, all your social media in the chats. We would love to get to know you and follow you and all of that jazz. And put some questions in the chat, anything you might have. Um, any events that you might be doing, you could throw them in the chats. We love to hear what you guys are doing, what the youth are doing, and everything like that. So I want to get into it. I want to start introducing our great panelists. First, I'll introduce myself. I will be your host tonight. My name is Diamond, and I am an entrepreneur. I'm representing Living Arts right now. And I also have my own business called Create Confident Youth. I love photography, makeup, all of the arts. I've done dance for many, many years and spoken word and a bunch of stuff. So I'm glad to be able to pull this event together with my co-host, Paola. She will introduce herself now, but I'm glad that we got a chance to get together and do this. So, Paola?
Hello, y'all. My name is Paola Ortega. I go by she, her, and ella, and I am representing Reframe. And I also work for Creative Youth Development, and I am a community member with Rising Youth Theater and Artist. Um, yeah, so as you can see in my bio, there's a lot of things about me, but I am really excited uh, to be in this space with you all. Thank you for coming, and I will pass it back to Diamond.
Okay. So I want to, get y'all introduced to our panelists right now. So the first one I'm going to introduce is Sam. Um, First of all, let's give her a chat hand. Okay. And I'm so happy that she got a chance to be a part of this panel. She is 21. Her pronouns are she, her, and hers. She is a poet. She was a dancer. She did dance for a while. She's a part of so many other organizations and things that she's going to get ready to tell you. So I'm super happy that she has joined our panel, and I want to pass it over to her.
Thank you, Diamond. Hi, my name is Samantha, but I go by Sam. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I do a bunch of stuff. I'm a dancer and mover. I do also a lot of spoken word and also a lot of little things. I sing in the shower when I want to, and I came here representing myself, but I'm also part of different organizations like Autism Youth, the social workers, and I'm based in San Diego, California. So yeah, thank you, Diamond.
No problem. So moving on to the next panelist, we're going to do Brianna. We're going to do Brianna next. So here's her bio, and Brianna is 19. She is a engineer. She's going to school for mechanical engineering. She is a great friend of mine. She goes to University of Michigan. She's in the STEM world. She did robotics with me for a long time. She is now a founder of her own nonprofit, the A Girl's Dream. Okay, go follow at Girl's Dream. And she is just such a great and awesome person. I'm glad that she got a chance to had the time to come on this panel and speak her words. So I'm gonna let her finish introducing herself. Brianna.
No, Diamond, you're right. The time to come things online. But yes, hi everyone. My name is Brianna. Um, calling in from Detroit, Michigan, loud and proud. I'm a woman of many trades, many hats. I'm into about everything. And I look forward to chatting with y'all tonight.
Okay. So now we're going to move on to the next panelist, y'all. So these some great panelists out here. I'm not even about to play with y'all. So
Hey, Diamond, you're muted.
I'm on mute. Okay. See, technical difficulties of living in a virtual world. But anyways, moving on to the next panelist, we have Mario. I had the great pleasure of working with him during the summer for the National Guild. I'm super excited that he can be on this panel tonight. Mario is a vocal major. He's doing a performing arts. He is in poetry, everything, you name it. So let's give Mario a little virtual hand, y'all, and let him come on and tell his truth, period.
Thank you, Diamond. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Mario. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I study as a vocal major, but I also do poetry, spoken word, also play a little bit of piano, and I'm also interested in engineering myself. And I'm supporting the Chicago Public Schools Art Student Voice Committee, and I hope to get to know you all some more today. Thank you, Diamond.
Let's go. Okay, so moving on to the next panelist, we have Quinn. So we're going to introduce Quinn. I've gotten to know Quinn now, and I'm super excited. He is a 19-year-old from Arizona. He goes to Arizona State University, and I'm ready to hear what he has to say. He's in theater, and yeah, so I'm going to pass it on to Quinn. Let us know what you. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey y'all, so my name is Quinn, my pronouns are he, they. I'm here representing Rising Youth Theater, which is an organization in Phoenix, Arizona. I've done a couple of different artistic mediums. I've acted, I danced when I was like way younger, but I just recently became a creative writing major at ASU, so that's like the main one. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be here, a part of this panel, so thank you, Diamond.
No problem, no problem. So we have introduced our great panelists, and I wanna get into it. I'm ready to get into what we came here for today, and that is to talk about adultism. So I'm gonna just ask the panelists a few questions, and as for the audience, you all can type some questions in the chats if you have any. We're going to do a Q&A at the end, and we also have a raffle at the end if you stay. So I mean, what y'all doing? Y'all gotta stay. Y'all gotta stay. So, the first question that I'm gonna ask the panelists. Now, this is how it's gonna go. I'm gonna say a question. Anybody can pick it up. You can, if after a person say it, you can also go and tell your definition. So, yeah. So the first question is, what's your definition of adultism?
I can start. My definition of adultism is just the assumption that the only people in the room with knowledge or experience or just anything to offer are the adults, and the assumption that the adults are the only authority figure in the room.
Okay.
I can
Anybody
go.
else?
I can go. I think my definition of adultism is the way in which adults govern themselves around the youth and the control they have over the youth, whether that's physically or mentally.
Anybody else want to go?
Yeah. So for me, and from what I've experienced, is that I'm sorry if you can hear the car turning on. I'm sorry, but for me, it's about the power dynamic and the abuse on that power dynamic from the adults to the child or the young person to a child. So it's just like that power dynamic and the abuse of it. Yeah.
Okay. So move on to the next question. So what has been your experience with adultism?
I can hop on this one. I feel like personally, the way I view this is like the older people, like the grandmas, grandpas, people who are like significantly way older than me, but all of those type of figures in my life has passed away. So I really didn't even have those many interactions with that many older people. But I feel like recently, as I like come into adulthood and all that type of stuff, I feel like I encountered it more like at home, between the dynamic between me and my mom. I live in a single parent household, and that already has like problems within itself. But as I emerge as being an adult, I started to form my own opinions, my own values, my own beliefs, my own dreams, and those tend to differ from my parent. I don't know who else here is coming from a single parent home, but they have their vision and idea of what they want their children to grow up to be. And I'm glad my mother has a vision for me, has a passion to raise me to become something great, but I need to experience that greatness on my own and write what I feel what is great for me. Um, so that's just a little spiel about what I'm going through and what I'm thinking about at the moment. We want to pass the mic to someone else.
I can take the lead. Kind of to piggyback off of what Brianna said, I guess like the dynamics and the clash between ideologies, whether that's in a academic setting or a home personal settings, it's kind of hard for the youth to kind of find their way when there's already set ideologies that's either passed down through generations or you're just your parent. So it's kind of hard to like find yourself and stray away from that. And I think that's the issue for me in itself. So yeah, that's my take on it.
I think my experience with adultism is generally really internal. I think because like all of the youth and adult interactions that I've ever been a part of or spaces that I've ever been in, the adults generally have all of the power, whether that's like in a classroom or for me, because I'm in theater, like a rehearsal room. Um, and so I think like as young people, we tend to internalize that and be like, oh, I don't actually know what I'm talking about. I don't actually know what this is. I'm just going to defer to the older person because they, of course, know what they're talking about. When most of the time that's not true. So I think like that's been something that I think about a lot, especially in the like limbo space of like kind of a young person and kind of an adult at the same time, is just how to unlearn that internally.
Okay, so what did you do to make it known? Like what did you do to make it known that you were experiencing this?
I feel like personally, I didn't like go, I'm like, oh my God, this is what happened, and like told people. I'm all about actions instead of all talk. So I'll just show you my own ownership and my own dreams and my own opinions through how I move. Um, I feel like creating spaces for people to talk, spaces like this, or even spaces for people to pursue what they want to do, or just have space to like I said, yeah, do basically what you want to do, and then whatever that means for you. um yeah, that's my spiel on that.
I think for me, uh, from time to time, when I've experienced that, uh, before I knew that like my voice, before I got comfortable with my own voice, I think I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't make it known, and I think that's part of the problem. When young folks stop like speaking about it, and young folks stop like actually noticing that that's abusive and that's not okay. I think that's a big problem. Um, and like I feel like the way that I got out of it is like by physically getting out of those spaces to more nurturing and like inviting and yeah, just like spaces where I felt like I was okay to speak and like I was allowed to. Um, so yeah, I think.
Okay. And so at what point does adultism show up, and what are the signs?
For me, I would say kind of what I stated earlier. I believe that adultism shows up in it can show up in a lot of different ways in a lot of different spaces, whether that's in your home or a job interview or an academic setting. And I think some signs can be two people going after the same opportunity, one a youth and one is an adult, and they often give it to the adult because of their experience or the wisdom or knowledge that they may have. So I think that's a sign right there that I experienced personally as well.
I think that there are also like physical signs of adultism, like if you have like a team of young people and adults, um, and there are like other adults in the room and all of their questions are directed at the adults and their like attention is directed at the adults, or even just like how attentive they seem when the adults are talking versus when the young people are talking. I think a lot of times you can like actually see people practicing adultism, both young people and adults actually, I should say.
Yeah, I also feel like it shows up when um well, I'm talking about personally about family, when like big decisions happen within the family or big decisions happen at the table and your opinion is not asked. Your voice is not heard. It's about, like you said, what the adults are going to do about it, or their ownership about the decision making. And it does come off quite toxic, but in a way it also looks a little bit like y'all clashing in an argument. It may look like that sometimes, and other times it may be, depending on who you are as a person, whether you're an extrovert or introvert, it may be like you just silent, sit in silent and just have to listen to what they say and just obey to whatever is being said. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with like everything that y'all have been saying about like what the signs are and like how does it show up. Um, in some spaces that has shown up for me is in my own friend group, in my own peer group, where I would want to do something or speak up about something or just move forward with an idea, and some of my friends would be like, "No, you're too young for that," or "You shouldn't be thinking about that. You're too young for that. They won't listen to you." um and that could be really toxic, in the sense of like, I really want to move forward with this dream, in this idea, in this space. And the way that it's toxic is by not allow by bringing my confidence down and not supporting me on that. Um or giving me an advice, but like, yeah. And some signs could be like the wording, right? "Oh, you're too young," or "You should go ask an adult first if that's okay." Or it also shows up in like the classroom, like some of you have shared, right? Like, "Ask permission first," or like, yeah, things like that. Hmm.
I
I
want to add, oh, I'm sorry. Can I
No, no,
ask?
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's just it triggers something when Paula was speaking, and I think it has to do a lot of that behavior when it's like peer to peer. It has to do a lot of with like the internalized things that's been going on because they've been told all of these things, um, like it's been internalized for years and years and years with parents, with teachers, with like even mentors who say that they have like the best interests on them, and I think it's kind of sad. And on those moments, I feel like it is hard, but also it's a learning opportunity to be like, oh, if you think like that, girl, that's on you, because like like it's just that. But yeah, I really appreciate that point that you mentioned, Father.
I think that I've personally experienced it, especially within like Samantha said, like the mentors, your mentors who, they claim they have the best interest for you. And also too, with like, how do I explain it? Like working with adults, like working with people who claim that um I am just the same as them. Like I'm doing the same job as them, but because I am younger than them, they feel as if they have to facilitate everything I do, or always just, kind of bring in my title down or something like that. And I've experienced that a lot with people who ask me to work with them, but then want to, like, I always call it adult explain things to me. Like, they want to adult explain to me, and they want to do this, and they want to kind of just trickle my title down. And it's like, well, what did you have me here for? Like, so I definitely understand that. And so then getting into that, when does it really become toxic?
I can start that because I'm really passionate about that. It makes me really upset. But I think something that you can tell, well, there's a couple things, but I'll mention two. Like, the first one is it stops being a with relationship. Like, they're speaking and talking, having a conversation, and they start talking to you instead of be and like speaking for you as well, which leads me to like tokenization, which is like a freaking thing on its own. But yeah, once adults start like using you as a little token and being like, you see, I taught this person, and because of me, they're great. And it's like, no, I'm great because I'm Sam, and like I'm great like that. Like, so I think that's when it starts turning really toxic, because one, and it affects the youth, because once they get out of that space, they're gonna be like, oh, do I not, like, am I not worth it because I'm not with them anymore? Because when I was with them, I was all of that. What if I'm not anymore? So yeah.
For me, I think specifically in the music world, it becomes toxic when you kind of feel that you are becoming voiceless, and that can often hinders your growth. And I had seen that a lot in a lot of my peers, whether that's music directors not allowing them to make the changes that they want or go for the opportunities that they believe fit for them. So I think a big factor for me when it becomes toxic is when it starts to hinder your own growth.
I just want to say I really agree with what Sam said. Um, because I don't know why I I can't even say I don't know why, but I don't know why like adults like feel that way when it's like, well, I what you did is my accomplishments. I'm like, no, those I did that. You didn't play no part in that. But also like they think when we leave like their organizations, their groups, there's business, is that we at a loss at something, when personally sometimes I don't feel like I'm at a loss. I feel like I'm regaining my own voice, I'm regaining my own ideas, values, beliefs, when I'm able to step back when from that toxic situation. um and I just, like I said, I cultivate my own spaces. Like I tell Diamond, I don't need nobody trying to explain every little thing we do or try to look over every little thing I do. Because when I hire somebody, I'm like, I already know their position. I already know they're qualified. I'm like, okay, here, this is your position. Go around with it. I already know you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do, and you're gonna do excellent in what you say you're gonna do. Um, but yeah, that's my little spiel. I'd have rant for that little point just for a moment. But yeah.
I think uh I'm just thinking about it from like a fundraising perspective, because I'm on the fundraising team at Rising Youth Theater, and I think that there's some really like, among any nonprofit that works with young people, but I think particularly it can be with like arts organizations, there's some really gross fundraising that's like really manipulative and like Sam was saying, tokenizing. And I think that's like another sort of form of adultism, is like saviorism. I think that's like, oh, let me like come teach all these young people who don't know anything, and now they're so great because they came into contact with me. So that's like another, I guess, like marketing and fundraising is another like way that adultism is used as like a tool to, I mean, a tool of capitalism, really.
Man, I really want to get into this, because this is what y'all saying right now is preaching to the choir, okay? Oh my gosh. First of all, let's okay. I experience this so much when it comes down to working with adults, because it's like this, especially what y'all said about they believe that your accomplishments is like because of them, and it's not. It's because of me, it's because of what I did. But they want to do this, they want to they think that they're doing something for you, and they don't really want to give you that credit. They want to make sure that, you know, it's all bottled up right here with them. And so I definitely have experienced that. And when it comes down to, like you said, fundraising, I do a lot of different fundraising for some of the organizations that I'm with. And, you know, they'll like, I've had like times where they'll put me in a fundraiser because I was a youth of theirs. They'll use me, only use me. It's a billion youth they're going to use that's actually in their program right now. Use me for their, what's the name? And then won't even, they'll have you do so many jobs for them, so many this and that, and then won't even take the chance to look at you and hire you in or this or that, because they feel like, oh, okay, well, she can do this, she can do that. She's young. She doesn't really need to work with us. You know, maybe after she gets that degree or after she this and that, then we'll hire her in as a employee. We can call her one of our employees. But for right now, we want to let everybody know that we're doing so much for her. She's this and this and that, so that way we can get money. But where's my pockets filling up? Like, I just want to know, why can't I do what I want to do, which is teach a dance class or do this or do that? But y'all trying to, you know, it's just a lot. It's a lot. And I can go on and on and on forever, but you know, not. Sam, did you want to say something? I saw you over there.
I'm too mad. It's just gotta take forever. I'm just gonna. No.
I'm dead. Okay, y'all. So let's move on to the next question. This is a question that I really want to dig into. So how has adultism shown up in intergenerational spaces? So youth spaces, adult spaces, like even if you have caught yourself, you know, doing adultism or whatever. So how has that shown up in those spaces? Anybody?
I'm sorry, Dime. I'm trying to think of like a very specific example, but it's not really coming to mind without like bashing someone, even though they're not here. But
Speak your truth.
Like,
I just I want to censor it a little bit of that because I'm not here to bash anyone. We're just here to express our own opinions and experiences. But I don't know. I just feel like it just like picks up what we were saying earlier when you're saying specific examples, certain organizations I work in, they would try to put all this work on me, say you're capable of doing this, you're just gonna be a volunteer. I'm not being paid to do none of my work, none of my skill sets I'm bringing to the table. I'm doing this for the mere fact that I believed in their mission. Um, I agree with what the work they were originally trying to do, and they're not holding up on their end. So I don't, I don't know what to do for my end. And that's why I feel like I'm a little bit silenced about how to advocate for myself to continue moving forward. Is either I step back or I advocate, but I haven't chose which one yet. But yeah.
I definitely can you know, relate to that, because I know the organization she's talking about. I know the mission that we originally believed in. And so it's just, it's crazy. And at the end of the day, these are young adults, these are young people, and this is a youth space. Basically, this is a young adult space. And I know that personally, I have, even if it's like teaching a dance class or this and that, I've caught myself, you know, making like overstating my power, like, oh, you know, this and that. And I had to catch myself, wait a minute, exactly. I'm a youth, they're a youth, is no reason for none of this. It's no reason in general, if I was an adult, um, maybe I should step back and ask them this or that or whatever, whatever. And I think a lot of people don't. I think some people don't even realize, what they're doing until they can analyze themselves. And some people just don't listen. And as far as like what Bree was saying, those people just don't listen. You can say it a million times, but it just goes straight through their ears.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to add on to that. I believe that sometimes the adultism is kind of instilled within the youth, and that kind of goes within the intergenerational effect. Because I've been in situations where it's been a youth-led organization or activity, and youth felt like it was their need to like overstep their power and start expressing adultism, and didn't even know they was expressing it. So I think that definitely has that generational effect on the youth, and we start to think of it as the right thing to do, but in reality is really not, because it's hindering everyone else that's under you. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that you have been saying about like what it means to get paid or volunteer as a young person. Like when do we actually get to get paid, right? Like how old do we have to be? When we get our degree? Like how long do we have to work with you in order to get paid? Uh like ways that I have seen, adultism in different spaces that it's, intergenerational is by there's something about putting someone in a pedestal. And oftentimes it could be a young person putting an adult on a pedestal. Like I can only speak on this from my own experience. I have put adults on pedestals because I was like, oh, they're so dope. Like they're always right. Like whatever idea they share, they're always right. And I don't care if my peer is disagreeing with what they have to say, but because I believe that they're always right. So that has been toxic, right? Like I have some friends who came up to me and they're like, you're putting this person on a pedestal, and it's kind of toxic because they share an idea and it was kind of it was kind of toxic, or it was a little bit conflicting, and you agreed with it, and it didn't even go with any of the values that we go for, but you agreed on it and you completely shut down what I was trying to share because you put this adult on a pedestal. And I was like, dang, like I didn't realize that. So like how, like for me, when I got called in by my friend, um I was able to understand that that's a way that also adultism showed up in my body, and like the ways that y'all have been sharing like about what adultism is, right? Like it's when you like think that adults are always right and that they're perfect and there's no way they can make a mistake. But like for me, I'm always going to make a mistake because I'm young. I need to live more. And that's not just toxic for the space, but it's also toxic for me and as a person and my growth. And like there's moments when the adult that I put in a pedestal, they were toxic towards me. And I didn't realize they were being toxic. I thought they just were caring about me. But they were just being toxic and I didn't realize that because they were on a pedestal. So like I always wonder like how I can, learn ways to not put people on a pedestal and just see them as people. We're all equal. Like we're all going through the same journey. Like what does it look like to have a healthy, a loving, and a joyful intergenerational space where young people and adults are together making the decisions, not just adults, not just the young people, but what does it look like for us together to work like as a whole, right? To make sure we create spaces for young people, to make sure our voices are being heard, because there's a stigma around what it means to be a young leader, a young artist, a young advocate. Like sadly we have to walk like that in this world and go into adult spaces, and like there's this stigma, like things that y'all have been sharing. But yeah, those are the ways that it has showed up for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, sorry.
you
Go
wanna
ahead.
you can go, it's
I'll
fine.
go. So I think um, one of the ways that it's shown up in is in like theater spaces. I think especially with traditional theater, whether that's like in a high school or just in a theater company, there's like very clear youth and adult hierarchies there, because I mean, you can just see it. Like the adults are the directors and the stage managers and the designers and choreographers and everything, and then the young people are like on stage, or the young people are like they're like building sets and making costumes, but not actually designing anything. And so I think there's, it's like the adults are allowed to hold like the vision and they're allowed to hold the creativity, and the young people are just there to like execute their vision. Um, and I think that's true in a lot of like artistic practices, like especially in like with music. I know when I was in high school, like the adults were always like the band directors or the conductors or whatever, and the young people just played in the band, which is cool. I mean, playing in a band is whatever, but that's what I'm getting is like the adults hold the vision and the creativity, and the young people are just kind of there to like execute their ideas.
I kind of want to talk about that because it's two things I want to talk about, especially from what Paula was saying about it becomes abusive, and what you were saying about the autism, the dots are holding the creativeness, and I want to go with that first because I realized when I was in robotics during high school, we would see, like, me and Brianna would see adults coming down and not even allowing like some of their students to come down and be like coaches or things like that. They'll come down with two of their students, and they'll be the ones driving. They'll be the ones coaching or whatever it was, instead of allowing the youth to do so. But they didn't believe in their youth that much to be able to come down and handle their business, handle the robot, handle what the driver, handle the competition, because at the end of the day, it was for the youth. And so that's definitely a space that I've seen that in. And when it comes down to the abusive relationships, when it comes down to adultism, I've experienced where it's a organization that I've been with for a long time. And I just, like, maybe this year realized that this relationship is like it becomes a relationship, and it's like an abusive relationship. And it's like things that I want to do, as I was saying before, I can't do. I can only do the things that they decide that they want me to do. And I'm the type of person, I'm a very nice person. I rarely say like no to things, I just like, okay, sure, sure. And I think sometimes it's like you think you have to say yes because this is an adult. They're asking you, they must, see something, whatever. And so that becomes a big thing. And that's something that I struggle with just not saying no. Like, this is my time. No, like, I'm not going to do this. Or if you not letting me obviously thrive in what I want to do with this, then no, like, whatever. So just being able to say no. And I think that I found that I personally have a certain mentor within that within that nonprofit that has helped me along the way for so many years, that I feel that I'm gonna let him down if I don't if I leave or I say no to certain things. So yeah, it becomes abusive, really. And yeah, so that's kind of what I want to say. Anybody else want to hop in? And also too, for the panelists, not for the panelists, but for the chats, everybody in the audience, you can put some questions in the chats if you have any.
What question are we in? Because I had my power outage went off around my house. Like, I got lost for a second. Sorry.
Oh, we were still in the intergenerational spaces one.
Okay. Paula, did you want to say something?
Oh no, you're good. You can speak, and then we can move to the next question.
Yeah, thank you. For me, I feel like I've been in both sides of the coin. I think for when I've been in organizations like nonprofits and stuff, all of my, I don't know, labels, but like I am has been used on their favor a lot of the times to like for like for I don't know all these labels that they're gonna make them look good and things like that. And I think that's something like really toxic. Thankfully, all the organizations that I'm part of right now, I don't see in I'm not in that space anymore. But yeah, like seeing that different dynamic to like other places that I used to be to like the ones that I'm now, it's like so like I feel like I can breathe now in the space that I'm in. Um, and it takes like I don't know, like a mentor who actually listens and cares for, and who they say it like they try to make sure I think that's like a good place to be at. And I think from the other side, when I've been like the adult in the room, like I work with kids, but really young kids, like elementary school, like kinder through second grade. So that's like kind of different because also like some of my kids are like, I don't know, like can I eat candy all day? And at the same time, I cannot be like, I'm gonna listen to a youth and let them eat candy all day because like they'll crash and like they're not gonna do their work or whatever it may be, you know. Um, so it's kind of like hard trying to figure that thing out with little kids, but at the same time, asking them questions is always a good thing. It's like, okay, so you're feeling. I think little kids are not used to being asked, "Are you okay?" or like, "How are you doing?" Or like what do you need, what do you want, and doing those questions and asking them I think it's really helpful. So yeah.
So we're getting ready to move on to the next question. Before I do that, I want to see I want to ask a question about, does it seem, have you ever experienced adultism within yourself? So not saying it to like, obviously, you know, you teach youth or anything like that, but just you doubting yourself because you are young or you're a youth. And I feel like that's kind of the same thing as far as how we experience adultism. So have any of you all went through that personally? Because I know personally me, I would be like, if it is a problem that I'm having or something like that, I'd be like, oh, well, I'm not going to tell this person because I feel like they're going through more than me. I mean, I'm only this or whatever it is. So, have you all went through something like that?
I just wanted to also acknowledge there was another question in the chat. That but I think in high school that was a very prominent thing for me. I think I've grown out of it a lot. I give an example how Diamond said we was part of robotics in high school, and that was like a really big thing. And within robotics, we would go to like these really big competitions with people who's well, first all over Michigan, and then we move on to people who are all from all over the world. And a lot of the veteran teams will have these grown men who it's really weird. This meant for high school. They will have these grown men on these robotics teams helping mentor the kids, and we had to work in like groups with each other to compete in the competition on teams. And I would doubt like I don't know if our robot's gonna do this and that and the other to promise this team that we're gonna complete these certain tasks. And yeah, I put a lot of doubt in some of the things we did and some of the decisions we made, but that was only at the cost of these random adults that I did not know. But now I feel like I've really grown out of it, and I advocate and speak for those who can't speak for themselves, or if I think a situation is wrong, or when my voice is needed, I make sure it's known. But yeah.
Okay, y'all. So we are running over time right now, but I want to make sure that I get some of the chat's questions and just get some tips from y'all about the adultism. So first, I want to, Paula, do we have any questions in the chats?
Yeah, right now we have, how do you relate adultism to sibling relationship? And I will add it again in the chat. so y'all can see it. Again, the question is, how do you relate adultism to sibling relationship?
Do any of y'all have any younger siblings or older siblings? Um, for the longest, I was the only child, but now I have a younger sister, and I feel like it can relate. Sometimes I be thinking I'm the mama when I am not, but sometimes I am put in certain situations where I have to take care of other children and children in this household, and honestly, I would think my opinion is like the best for them, for their safety, for their well-being, and yeah, I feel like it plays in that role. But as Sam said, I feel like now time has changed. We have to ask certain questions about how they feel, what's their input on certain things, and hear what they have to say when certain problems come up in the household.
Just to add on to that really quickly, I think there's definitely is a power dynamics between like older siblings and younger siblings. Myself, I was the youngest, so I had a lot of like older brothers and sisters, and adultism kind of came into play when I wanted to like either go off to college, like where they wanted me to go. It started to become mostly what they felt was right for me, and not what I felt was right for myself. And their only excuse was they had more experience or they did it themselves.
You
Mario, you no. Now you on mute.
Did y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I was basically just saying like there's definitely still that power dynamics, and I seen it within myself when I was choosing like what university I wanted to attend. So yeah.
Okay.
I am like the older sister of two boys. So it's not only like do I might not understand like them in sense of like I'm a girl and they're boys too. So like it's also different in the way that they travel the world as I do. Um, but yeah, I feel like for me, um, I for sure have I don't know the right wording, adultize size. I don't know, but like showing it some like you know using my power because I'm the oldest one and like sometimes like not the best way, but like I might be telling like oh you gotta do this and sometimes I'll like them just like they ask me like why and I'm like because I told you so. So like I've done that like it's a big sister thing. I've told them that I have my which is a 14-year-old and the how old is he 5 so I know I've done that and I think the ways that I've like trying to get out of it I think it's much harder for me to get out of this adultism type of scene with my siblings than is with other kids that I take care of or that like because those kids have like parents and if I do something to those kids or say something wrong to those kids so like it's real and also trying to make sure that like I'm being the best side of myself while taking care of my siblings and like trying to show up for them as much as I can the way that I wish other adults would show up for me. So it's hard, but like that's what I want to do or like that's the goal.
Thank you for sharing that, answering that question. Um, and it's really interesting because adultism could show up any place, right? Like how y'all been sharing. Uh, and now that we've been talking about the signs and like the way it could be toxic and where it has shown up. Like, what does a healthy intergenerational relationship look like or feel like?
I have an example. Um, Not too long ago, when pre-COVID, I used to go to these events, and so happened parent wants to come along too, and I'm personally used to um, uh, everyone like writing down their names, also writing down or making it known what pronouns they want. But to the older people in my family, they did not understand why this lady asking me. She was like, "Why is she asking me my pronouns? Like, what does that mean? Like, why everybody gotta write that down?" And it's just like us as youth or Gen Z, we understand that whole concept, and we have to take responsibility to educate and have civil conversations with these adults about topics that we're passionate about or just known to us. And yeah, just really having a respectful conversation like, hey, you're wrong in this aspect, let me tell you why, and this is like the community standards now. And I hope you can respect it, and if you don't, I'm sorry.
I think that a healthy like intergenerational relationship, uh, it's a lot of the same things that like any kind of relationship needs to be healthy. So like sort of like a reciprocation of like respect and trust. Um, I think like a willingness to ask for help on both ends. So like if I'm a young person, I need to be prepared to be like, actually, I don't have a PhD, so I don't know what that means. Can someone explain it to me? And then at the same time, like adults need to also be willing to ask their young peers um, for help, because young people have stuff to offer too, and have like ways that we can mentor adults. Um, and that's another idea too, like the idea of mutual mentorship, because everybody like has assets and has things that they bring to the table. And so I think, yeah, it's just about like reciprocity and like mutual trust. So it's like kind of like any other relationship, really.
Something that like for me I noticed about what Quinn was saying. Um, yeah, it's just like asking questions. It's always a good thing, and not making decisions for other people. If you know the decision you're about to make is gonna affect the youth, don't make it without them in the room, because that's not fair. Um, Also, just like you as an adult, you're not better than them, and they're also not better than you. And yeah, just like making sure that that's stated, and young adults and just youth, they're experts on their own story just as much as you're an expert on your own story. So yeah.
So last question that I want to ask you all is, where can people contact and support the work that you do?
I can go first.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, where can people contact you and support the work that you do?
Oh, I mostly have Instagram handles. I'm working on a website right now, but Instagram, do it for Bree. It's not spelled BRI for some reason. Is do it for Bree, BRE underscore. And one of the organizations that I'm running right now is called A Girl's Dream underscore official on Instagram.
Currently, I'm just on Instagram as well, and you can find me at its.rio, SITSS.RIO.
I am also on Instagram. It's my personal handle is Quint of Dust, so it's just Quinn T of Dust. And then you can also follow the Rising Youth Theater Instagram, which is just Rising Youth Thea, THEA with no ter at the end. Yeah.
For me, you can follow me on Instagram at art by Sam 1399, and also you can follow Artifying Youth in Instagram, which would be at Arts Amp Youth. So yeah.
Paula?
Sorry. You can find me on my artist page, glitterlicious underscore XX. And you can also follow Reframe PHX on Instagram and CYD Movement on Instagram. Yay! And I will add them on the in the chat so everybody who didn't catch them can see them.
And you can follow me at the PJ Girl, so THEPJ and then girl. And also on my business account at Create Confident Youth. So yeah, and you can always ask me any questions there. And hopefully we can have some more of these events.